Call the meeting to order, 7 p.m. It's September 15th, East Greenbush Central School District School Board. Attendance tonight, Mr. Mann will not be here. Is anyone else? I think that's it, right? Anyone else is here? Good. If everyone's all set, if you could please rise and join me with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, liberty and justice for all. Thank you very much. So it's exciting to bring back our student council this year for 21-22. Have some introductions. Need a microphone? There you go.
Hi, everyone. Thank you. Good evening. Thank you for having us. For those who don't know us, I'm Ryan Seeley, the Student Council President, and this is Emma Marchioni, our Vice President. First, we'd like to thank the board and Mr. Simons for bringing us back to school and giving us the go-ahead for Pep Rally and Homecoming, both of which the student body is quite grateful for. And this is our busy season, so we have a few updates tonight. We kicked off the year strong in August with freshman orientation. Working with Mrs. Farnan, we were able to provide the class of 2025 with information on teacher expectations, student safety, and how to get involved at CHS, as well as a tour.
So coming up this week, we have Spirit Week, Pep Rally, and Homecoming. We have an action-packed Spirit Week that will include Pajama Day, Generation Day, Bikers versus Surfers Day, class competition, and on Friday, each class will wear their color for the Pep Rally. During Spirit Week, we will have the bridge painting on Monday and trivia on Wednesday after school. This year, Pep Rally will be outside as the classes compete by playing many games that we are happy to have approved, including male cheerleading, limbo, a pillow fight, and more. Nominations for Homecoming Court and Homecoming King and Queen will be going on Friday, and voting will begin next week. We are getting the word out to have an enthusiastic student section at the game next Friday, followed by our Homecoming Dance on Saturday from 6 to 9 p.m. We will also be decorating for the Homecoming Dance next Saturday morning.
The Executive Council and the administration has also been working to assist the freshman class who are currently without advisors, but the class of 2025 and their class officers have been very active, so we're very confident in them. And finally, we would like to share that the student body is very happy to be back in school full time, and we're really thankful to be, back in school, no longer A Day, B Day, with 100% of our classmates. And that's all we have for today. Thank you very much.
Any questions for student council? You got a chance to grill them. So can you introduce yourself? I didn't catch it. Is it Emma?
Oh, yeah. My name's Emma Marchioni.
Okay, welcome. So we'll see a lot of you guys. All right. Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you.
Glad to hear you're glad to be back.
Yes. I'm super excited.
Excellent. So now I'll turn over to Mr. Harkin for a special presentation.
Good evening, everyone. Again, I'd like to echo what Ryan and Emma said. It is great to have everybody back in the building. It's very exciting to see the students here. One of the things I'm having a hard time getting used to is seeing them every day, because I've asked them, are you back Wednesday, Thursday? So it's been odd to have them here every day, but it's great. I'm happy to announce that we had 2 August graduates right now. This is the first time in the 4 years that I've been principal here at the high school that we've graduated students in August. This was the largest cohort that we had in my 4 years. We had 344 students. And of the 344 students, all but 3 have a career path or something that they're doing right now. We had 9 that did not graduate with their class. So we have these 2 August graduates, and then we have 5 others. 3 have returned to school for this school year. We have 2 that we placed in Job Corps, and they will receive their GED through Hudson Valley and learn a trade. So 341 out of 344 students have some kind of career path or some kind of vision that they're choosing. And that's really started here at these meetings. I can remember when I first started, the Board of Education had a vision. We talked about not going just for college. So now we call it Career Exploration Night, Career and College Readiness. The leadership of Mr. McHugh, Mr. Simons, the amazing faculty and staff here at Columbia High School. When we say it takes a village, it does take a village. These kids have been trying. Some of them have been at CTAP. Some of them have come back from CTAP. Some of them have left us. They've come in for the summer. So we're just really proud of the hard work and dedication of the faculty and staff these last 4 years, and really proud of this last cohort and the graduation. Fortunately, our graduates could not be here this evening. Chris was scheduled to come. Bailey is working, but Chris got ill this afternoon and phoned me and told me that he had symptoms related to COVID and was unable to get a test, so he cannot be here this evening. So we're going to mail him his diploma, and we already mailed Bailey. So once again, I just wanted to thank everyone for their support and their vision, and we are looking forward to a successful year. Does anyone have any questions for me?
No questions? No.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mike. Appreciate all the hard work, and really want to recognize the students who stuck with it and able to push through and to get their diplomas. So we appreciate that. We'll give a round of applause. We do that. And I would just want to echo too the dedication of the staff to help our students to do the best they can and to get that degree and or follow that path into a career is just terrific. So we appreciate their work. All right, moving on to the next part of the agenda. We have the approval of the minutes for August 25th. Any questions or comments, revisions? I believe Mark and Michelle were not present at that meeting, so they'll abstain. So seeing no revisions or comments, can I have a motion to approve the minutes? Joanne, a second. John, all those in favor? All those abstaining? Approved. Moving on to our first board forum. We have 2 board forums for each meeting. I'll start on my left with Michelle. Anything? Yep, definitely.
I attended the football game last week. It was well attended and there was a lot of school spirit. So looking forward to an upcoming year.
Thank you, Michelle. John?
Thank you. I just wanted to thank Mr. Harkin for the kind words for the district. You're right. The vision that we had from the board actually reflects the community vision. And that's what's really important here. And it's so nice to see the kids and the staff. And I can even see the excitement that you have about bringing the kids back and hopefully recovering some of the ground. But it's really nice to hear that this vision that we have is thriving, and then we'll give you the seed money to continue to grow it. But please say to your staff from us that we do recognize how hard it has been, and we appreciate what you have done for the children. Thank you.
Thank you, John. Move to Deanna. You're good. Pass the microphone down. Kathleen.
I just wanted to say, as I was driving in, I noticed that the bridges are now blank, which was very exciting to see because it does mean that we are back and we're going to be doing the homecoming activities, and that was very nice to see. And I would also like to congratulate the 2 August graduates. It's really nice to see them stick through everything because it has not been easy, and it's really a testament to them also that they persevered through everything.
Thank you, Kathleen. Joanne?
I'd like to just add on to that, not only congratulating the graduates, but their parents and the staff that made it possible. I'm sure every day wasn't easy for those children, and I congratulate the staff that helped them through that.
Frank? Good. And Cheryl? You're good. All right. Thank you, everyone. And we'll be a second board forum later this evening. Now moving to our public forum. Residents, students, employees, and business representatives of the East Greenbush Central School District may address the board on matters concerning programs and/or operations of the district other than matters involving personnel. Members of the board do not directly respond to citizen concerns during the public forum. If a response is appropriate, either the president or superintendent will contact the individual in the near future. Those persons wishing to address the board will be recognized by the chair of the meeting and should state for the record their name and address or affiliation with the district or business. While the board does not wish to infringe upon free speech protections, it must be stressed that the visitors forum is not deemed to be an open forum. The board president will conduct the forum for the orderly and efficient operation of board business. In addition, any remarks which be considered defamatory or stigmatizing are prohibited and be declared out of order. All comments shall be limited to 5 minutes. Does anyone like to address the board at this time? Yes.
Good evening, Allison Hosier, East Greenbush Central School District employee and EGTA President. Good evening, Board of Ed members and members of Central Administration. I wanted to take a few moments this evening to introduce myself and share a few thoughts now that the school year is officially underway. Some of you I know better than others. I'm the president of the EGTA. I'm headed into my 12th year teaching art in the district, and to be in this position of union leadership is truly humbling and a great honor. Each day I'm reminded of the reasons why I'd chosen to run for this position when I see my colleagues doing exceptional things. The EGTA truly belongs to the finest group of educators, related service providers, counselors, social workers, and school psychologists possible. The collective passion of this group is an inspiration, and they drive me toward doing what is best and what is right. As we embark upon yet another challenging school year, I'm eager to begin what I hope will be a positive, productive, and collaborative relationship with each of you. Thank you for allowing me this brief opportunity to speak this evening.
Thank you, Allison. Anyone else? There we go. No? Okay, there is a second public forum later if someone should decide to speak. All right, moving through the agenda, reports and presentations of the superintendent of schools. I'll turn it over to Mr. Simons.
Good evening, everyone. I appreciate that all of our folks are attending in person this evening, the meeting, and it's really nice to see that. I want to take just a few minutes to talk about the success of our opening. This is the first full week of school, and it is going very, very well, and I'm really proud of what everyone is accomplishing. I'm going to put my mask on and move a little closer to the presentation. So we opened up school last Thursday, and as you know, we did have a board meeting last Wednesday evening, and we said that we were prepared to open, and we've been very, very successful. And to reiterate what both Allison and Mr. Harkin have said, the kids are very excited to be back, and our student council members. Our staff welcomed them, really rolled out the red carpet. Our teachers, our support staff, our administrative team did an exceptional job making the students feel welcome. It was really a very celebratory first day with decorations, special treats, different little touches that the teachers had made in the classroom. Additionally, we are committed this year to make sure that all of our resources, our energy, and our time focuses on the quality of student learning and instruction as we deal with COVID-19. And we're committed to make sure that COVID-19 is managed well within our district, but that the focus remain on learning and teaching and the opportunities that we provide our students both in the classroom, but also through the extracurricular activities and the events. It is an adjustment, however, for our students, for our parents, and our staff, and we have put supports in place to make sure that our students, our staff, and our families can adjust. Even prior to COVID, the first full week of school is exhausting in some cases for our students. It's exhausting for our faculty and staff. We are adjusting to new routines coming out of the summer, and that has been increased as a result of our students not being able to come back full-time last year and a different rhythm in the schedule. And we're getting adjusted this week to that rhythm, but we want people to know that we have supports in place. Some of the federal programs, the additional teachers, the supports that we have to make sure that everyone can be welcomed back successfully. We've added new faculty and staff this year. We have intervention specialists who are already working with Lisa Mahar to implement the Renaissance assessment, to look at the data on student learning that we have at the K-5 level. We are still looking for teaching assistants, so if there's anybody out there watching the meeting and you'd like to learn about how to become a teaching assistant, we still have vacancies, don't we, Ms. Cannon? But we have hired and created new additional teaching assistant positions to support the school and support the students. We have hired additional social workers and counselors, although we are challenged by the environment right now. We have a couple counseling positions still vacant because of leaves in our high school, but we're working through that. But we have the positions here to support the student success. And just as recently as yesterday, we had a meeting with our Commissioner of Mental Health, Kathy Coons, and her staff, and all of our counselors and social workers right here in the library to talk about how the satellite mental health clinic will work, providing a half a day at this point at Goff Middle School and a half a day at the high school. That process right now is in the county's hands. The county attorney is reviewing the agreement that we have. Kathy was hoping that that would occur this week, and we would anticipate that that clinic would be up and running sometime in October. But we're continuing to move that process forward. And we are implementing all of the protocols that we've been talking about to ensure health and safety of our students. Additionally, this was a very busy summer for capital project and construction work. This was the third summer of our $39.7 million capital project. And I had alerted the board that there were some issues and it was coming down to the wire. And I have to say that we've gotten most of the work completed in our buildings. Our teachers demonstrated great flexibility in being able to set up their classrooms while contractors were still installing cabinetry, sinks, doors, flooring, and the classrooms look great. And I think the principals, I'll ask the principals to comment a little bit about that, particularly those buildings that are been impacted the most. Our custodial maintenance staff, what a great crew. Again, in the heat of the summer with all the moisture, working around capital projects, our buildings look fantastic. And I think, you know, I've heard teachers, teaching assistants, staff complimenting the work of our custodians, particularly in such a difficult summer. Our grounds department, our grounds look great. They were ready for athletics and ready to greet the kids who are participating on the fields. Just a few photos, and our concrete steps, our porch steps got completed at the Columbia High School just in time to install the rails right before the students were coming, the day before the students were coming back. So the golf, the new entryway into golf and the parent drop-off being separated from the busing is working well. People are getting used to that routine, and the traffic is not backed up quite as much on Gilligan Road. As we move into September, later September and October, we are doing our best to preserve school events. We know how important that is in East Greenbush, and events such as our welcoming back events. Mr. Grignon had a very large ice cream social. He had it outside where more than 600 people participated. The other schools have events that are being planned. As much as we can do, we want to do outside as the weather permits, because the COVID-19 Delta variant remains a concern and we're monitoring it. Another thing that I had talked to the board about, we want to be good citizens in the community. And we know that we have a very nice new walking trail located in East Greenbush that runs right by the Janae School. We have installed some reserved parking signs that were available spaces so that we can have folks who want to enjoy that amenity to our community have some dedicated parking, and that's something that we put in place this year. As we move into the school year, we're providing appropriate oversight over the management of COVID-19. Our nurses are key in this. Our building level administrators are key in this. Our athletic director has been key in this. Marissa Cannon, everyone in the central administration is working. We are managing and responding to similar requirements for last year, which includes the quarantining of students, doing the contact tracing in coordination with the county, and we believe we have a good handle on it, on the process as it is unfolding. Additionally, we see the keys to success as communication, and communication is a two-way street. We are going to do our level best to ensure frequent, detailed communication to our employees and to our families and to our students. In the same vein, we want to hear about the experiences of our students from our families early on so we can make adjustments and intervene to make sure that the children are successful this year. Flexibility. We're going to have to adapt to changing circumstances. Again, we were successful at this last year. We will continue to be successful at it this year. We're monitoring everything that's happening. We're working with our county Department of Health. We're working with neighborhood districts and Questar to be able to adjust to changing situations. For example, today was our first experience with students being quarantined as a result of being on the bus. That is disappointing to have to happen, but it is happening in every district around us, and we will manage it and make sure that those students don't lose ground academically while they are quarantined. And we want to have daily celebration. There's a lot of things that everybody in the district did well today. And we want to make sure that people pause from the stress and the focus on moving forward to recognize that they've had a good day. Students have accomplished something today. Teachers and staff accomplished something today. administration and board has accomplished something today, and our families have accomplished something today. And we want to have daily reflection to make sure that we are appreciating all the good things that we're accomplishing on a daily basis as we deal with the challenges. But the focus is on teaching and learning, and that's where we're going to be aiming our direction this year. And we're very happy with the way the school year has gotten off to a great start. Thank you. If board members have any questions, I'd be happy to answer them.
Any questions, folks? No? Thank you, Mr. Simons. I think the transportation piece is going to be the challenge. You know, if we saw the way the contact tracing kind of maps out with different sizes and in terms of the buses and the locations of people, it's really going to be something that we have to monitor closely.
Thank you, Mr. Bruno.
Any final comments on school opening? Just great to see. The school looks great and having everybody back. We have 3 discussion items on the next part of our agenda. First one is high-risk athletics.
So at the last board meeting, I talked to the community and the board about some of the distinctions between how COVID-19 is being addressed for vaccinated individuals versus unvaccinated individuals. And in accordance with the CDC, students who are participating in higher risk sports are right now being tested on a weekly basis. The recommendation of the CDC is that all students who participate in those sports should be fully vaccinated. We continue to communicate that whether you're in the classroom, whether you're involved in a sport, or whether you're on the bus, if you are age eligible to receive a vaccination, you are better off in a circumstance when you've come into close contact with someone who is COVID positive. Students and employees who are fully vaccinated can remain at school, attending classes, can participate in work. It is recommended that they are tested within 3 to 5 days. And in the case of athletics, those students who are exposed to another player or another team participant who are vaccinated can still be on the field and still participate, having to wear a mask for 14 days in any indoor public setting. So we're going to continue to encourage families to consider vaccination, particularly if students are going to be involved in higher risk winter sports. I'm having this conversation with other superintendents in the area, including I will be having a conversation with the superintendents of the Suburban Council League. And we're concerned that we make sure that families fully understand that winter indoor participation in higher risk sports could become challenging. And the best way, in our view, to ensure that students can fully participate is to consider vaccination. At this point, we're going to continue to advocate, communicate, work with our other districts. The county indicated today that at this point, they would not take a position on it. So that's it for high-risk athletics at this point.
Is there, so just, can we go back to the league? You're meeting with the superintendent of the league, and is there a consistent position in terms of?
There is not a consistent position currently.
Okay.
Albany City School District, Niskayuna Central School District, and Bethlehem Central School District are already requiring vaccination for all of their players in high-risk sports. The rest of us are following similar testing weekly protocols. Mr. Leonard is advocating with the athletic directors of the Suburban Council that this is an issue that we really ought to consider. We want to give families adequate time to ensure that their children are fully vaccinated before the season starts. It's 2 weeks in between the first shot and the second shot, and then 2 weeks before someone is fully vaccinated. So it's only really about 6 weeks time period in which families that would need to have their children vaccinated would have available to them. But there is no state mandate. There is no county mandate. There is no executive order like there was last year governing sports.
Right, right. Any thoughts either way on how to, are you looking for guidance from the board to help you with the decision or to at
Well,
least hear more
what we're
information?
doing right now is we're asking our nurses to update the vaccination
Okay.
data weekly.
Right.
And they have been doing that for us, and I appreciate it. The district maintains data on the number of students in each building and the number of students on each athletic team that is fully vaccinated.
Mhm.
That is increasing because we've had some experiences in the fall sports. We had one today where a student was tested positive as part of our testing program. Those tests have to be verified, however, by an outside PC, to the PCR test. So in order to fully be confirmed. So I'm not asking the board to vote on it or anything of that nature this evening.
Mhm.
I want to see what happens regarding the county and the state and the league direction, but I really feel that it's important to preserve not only the protection and the health of the individual students, team members, but also their ability to participate, because you could have a situation where 6 games out of a 16-game season are lost by a player or by a group of players because of quarantine involving multiple students that may not be vaccinated. So a basketball season typically being 18 to 20 games, depending on the year, and a 10-day quarantine period with 3 games a week, that's 5 or 6 games out of a 16-game season. That really does have an impact on the individual student, but it also has an impact on the ability to run practice, to field teams, and be able to have a viable program. So we really ask parents to consider these implications.
Okay.
Wrestling, cheerleading, boys and girls basketball are all considered higher risk. And we have indoor track, which I believe is not.
I mean, for me, my opinion really is that, we continue to monitor. I think that I'd like to see consistency amongst the community and the leagues, and to make sure that, if we're going down that path, as similar districts did, that there's consistency. And I think that, we're not going to be able to prevent things if we're not on the same page with the vaccinations. I do, however, think that it's a parental choice too. I know it's important. But I do think we continue to encourage, recommend, and then let them decide, because it's going to be ultimately up to them to make the decision. That's right.
The state is concerned about the low percentage of students in the age category of 12 to 17 who are vaccinated right now.
Yep.
We're seeing our numbers come up a little bit. We have more than 60% of our high school students are fully vaccinated right now. That number declines as you move down to the 8th grade and the 7th grade. Of course, some 7th graders are not eligible by age as they start the school year. Some of our 7th graders are still 11 years old, and our 6th graders are not. I would say the large majority, if not all of our 6th graders, are not eligible for the vaccine.
Sure.
I did see some reports, and some of you probably saw reports, that there's some encouragement that vaccines may be available and approved by the FDA by Halloween for students that are ages 5 to 11. That report was on CBS Sunday Morning with someone who had worked for the FDA, currently working on the Pfizer board.
Okay.
So we're monitoring that as well.
Okay. Any other comments or questions, John?
Just wanted to, again, thank you for taking this point seriously and trying to adopt some consistency, because I think one of the greatest challenges we have is the lack of consistency from all levels, then creating the vaccine hesitancy that we have. Without the proper guidance from either the state or the county health departments, we as a district do have a right to make requirements, correct?
That's correct.
Okay. So with that, I personally, I believe that the current situation is a personal choice, but it's also a personal choice for the community. And if the community decides through the school district that we require something, then it has to be adhered to. And I think that the personal choice of the parents to not put their kids in that environment is to be respected. But overall, we have to do what's best for the whole. And I think that's the challenge while respecting personal choice. So again, I really appreciate trying to get consistency here, but we do have an obligation to protect the whole at some point. Thank you.
Thank you, John.
Thank you. Anyone else? No? All right. Thanks for the conversation, and we'll hear more hopefully by the next meeting or sooner. The next topic is the status of pre-K planning.
As we have announced at previous meetings, we are moving forward with Questar BOCES to organize and implement 2 pre-K classes at Red Mill Elementary School. And Linda Wager, our Director of Business and Finance, has been doing a lot of detailed work on this. And I'm just going to turn this over to Linda because she has a very good handle on the plan.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Simons. So after our August 25th board meeting where the board approved us moving forward with Questar 3, I did contact them, and subsequently they posted for the positions, 2 teaching positions and 2 TA positions. Once the posting closes, they will put together an interview committee that will include pre-K employees of Questar, as well as they have invited Mrs. Squilacci, the Red Mill principal, to be part of the committee as well. I have also filed our application with the New York State SED Office of Learning, Early Learning, and filed with them FS10 budgets as well. And I have included the excess part of the expense of this tuition on the American Rescue Plan. So for this year, this program will be fully funded with no tax consequences at all. Since this memo that I wrote for the board on September 9th, we've been quite busy, and we have established a timeline that I'd like to review with you. This, please keep in mind that some of this is tentative because it will depend on the staffing, the hiring, the notices that need to be made to their current employers. So as of tomorrow, after tonight, we are ready to post an article on our website announcing the pre-K program. And with that, we have a link to a Google application, which people can complete, and that will submit their names and information for the lottery draw. We'll also have paper applications located at each one of the elementary buildings for those who don't have the technology. Questar, our understanding is that Questar will be conducting interviews the week of 9/20. And then I expect the applications to be back on Wednesday, September 29th. And that application deadline is 4 o'clock. In the meantime, between then and when we select the lottery, we will be reviewing those applications for ineligible applications, and that is, we'll be confirming addresses, date of birth, those types of items. And then on 10/5 is when we intend to do our lottery selection. That will take place at 7 o'clock in the Genet Auditorium. It will be open to the public. We have an auditor from our internal auditor, Michael Wolf, will be conducting that lottery, and we will be recording all of those results. The next day, on 10/6, we expect to call all of the families that have been selected, and we will be reminding them of the registration packets that need to be completed. Those registration packets need to be completed and back to the district clerk's office by 4 p.m. on Wednesday, October 13th. Now, I mentioned that Questar will be conducting interviews the week of September 20th. They have their board meetings on October 7th and November 4th. With all of these dates in mind, our goal is to start the pre-K program with students on October 18th, Monday, October 18th. That's tentative and is subject to change based on the staffing and is really based on the staffing and how quickly we can get the staffing in place. As far as furniture and equipment, we placed an order today for the teacher furniture. We are sending emails out to our elementary schools to see if we have any supplies that we could possibly use. And we're working with Questar on what supplies they will provide. Also, Mr. Goodwin, our IT director, has been in communication with the Questar IT department. So we're getting that under control as well. So we have been quite busy. I'd like to thank Mark Adam for his assistance, Helen Squillaci, and Jeannie Pangburn. We've all worked together on this. Are there any questions?
Comments or questions? So I'm pretty close to this issue, so I'm sure the district will stay well informed in terms of the process. And as Mr. Simons did earlier, if there's people interested in pre-K teaching assistants, please feel free to apply to those positions. All right. Thank you, Linda. And I really, really appreciate the work of the committee that was involved in putting this all together. I think the committee would be well received by the community, and you should have a lot of interest. So excellent. Next is the update on the federal programs.
Yes, the board had requested that we pick up our discussion from the spring regarding some of our federal programs. There are some programs that we've implemented. Staff has been hired to implement those programs, but there are some that required further study and discussion. Linda Wager provided an update on those programs that are in place, those programs that are budgeted for. There were two items that we want to have more discussion of. We had a very successful Food for Families program coordinated by Mr. Leonard's office and Audrey DeBacco, among other volunteers this year. That program connected with individual school backpack programs to make sure that our families in need had food and other items that they might need. We feel that that program should continue, and we want to be able to provide some support for somebody to consistently help to coordinate and make sure that the information is available, the food is accessible, and everyone involved in this effort is connected and coordinating well. We talked about different options for how to fund it, what level of funding. We surveyed one district or two that had such a program. We felt that that estimate was a little too much for the kind of work that we were thinking about. But we want to hopefully come to consensus with the board on a stipend to do a posting and see if anybody's interested in doing it. And the stipend that I'm going to recommend is $1,500. Anything to add, Linda?
On this particular
Right.
program?
No, right.
No.
So the involvement would be working to make sure that, you know, where the needs are being met, advertise the availability of the program, help coordinate the food pickups, delivery, interacting with other community agencies and churches that are involved in these kinds of efforts, and just making sure that no student and no family gets missed.
Any comments on that first item? Food for families. So a recommendation, we would have a stipend.
Stipend would be
Recommended
$1,500. We would advertise for any eligible employee. It could be any member of our district that wants to do it, regardless of bargaining unit, regardless of role. Somebody who just has an interest in doing it and wants to do it and has a passion for it.
Yeah, good. All right.
Okay.
Let's move forward.
Okay. The next program is a program that has been recommended by Mr. Leonard to focus on fitness, nutrition, and health awareness and development for students. If you recall, some of the nature of the grants that we're utilizing this year focus on the whole child, not only the academic development of students, catching up and addressing learning gaps, but the social, emotional, mental health needs. And we all know the relationship between academic success, physical health, emotional health, and diet and fitness. Ms. Cannon and Mr. McHugh met with Mr. Leonard today to fine tune a job description that we think encompasses what the board's concerns were, to make sure that it was not just, working out with students and training kids who are already athletes in the weight room, but bringing other kids into a process where they're looking at such things as nutrition counseling, overall wellness, and tied to our wellness policy. So I'm going to ask Marissa and Jim to fill in the gaps.
Thank you, Mr. Simons. So we collaborated on a job description. This position, the wellness coordinator, would assist our director of athletics with the oversight and the implementation of a student and staff wellness program in alignment with the district's wellness policy. The focus would be on all students at the secondary level, grades 6-12, and all district staff members. We would like this individual to be certified in either physical education or a certified health teacher, with a preference being certified as well as a personal trainer with a strong background in strength and conditioning and nutrition programs. We see this individual educating our students in terms of providing them with valuable experience with physical fitness being part of daily life forever, making sure that they have accessibility to education regarding healthy eating habits, and making sure that we're providing educational programs such as presentations within health classes, collaborating and developing workshops with stress management in mind for both students and staff, having an opportunity for individuals to come into the weight room and learn weight room etiquette, along with proper techniques to avoid any injury, partnering with community local fitness studios to incorporate yoga and breathing techniques for our students and staff, and really implementing a district-wide health and physical activity curriculum to really engage our students and staff in wellness. Do you have anything to add, Mr. McHugh?
Just one highlight is, it is assisting with PE recovery credits as well. We've been monitoring our course failures each marking period, and very surprised by monitoring that data and actually seeing the course failures in physical education. So there are students that are just reluctant to engage. Even last year, when we weren't requiring our high school students or our middle school students to change, there were activities, live music out on the turf field, cornhole, can jam, frisbee. Still, we had students that would not engage. So it is that outreach of really trying to get these kids moving, get them engaged in something outside of what we're offering during the normal phys ed period. So that helps quite a bit. We do have students that are in danger of not walking across that graduation stage simply because of phys ed failure, just not participating. So that's another big point of this wellness coordinator, establishing that relationship with our students in a smaller, more intimate setting, 1-to-1, 2-to-1, and getting these kids moving.
Any other questions regarding the position description and the kind of the role we're looking for? Joanne? Yeah.
I'd just like to thank everyone for the work done on that. I think it's a comprehensive proposal. I especially like the area we're conducting after-school wellness programs. Then we're hitting the children that are not our athletes and finding something for everyone. I really think it's well thought out, well planned, and looking forward to seeing it in action.
Anybody else?
The only very small piece I would like to see added is maybe something, put some of these resources up so you can engage families too, so that the kids, if they come home excited about something, mom and dad have something that they can check out and maybe continue it at home. That would be my only thought.
Great.
So maybe we can charge them with creating a wellness page landing page for the district. I think, kudos to the group that put together the job description and kind of looking at what the board feedback was on this, in this role. I would like to see it to partner not just with the local fitness studios, but also with our local health insurance groups. There's a lot of wellness activities related to the health insurers. Maybe Linda, you can help out with that, connect the consortium with this position. I also see a lot of crossover with our family engagement person, the food program with Phyllis, and all those different pieces to really kind of be a presence in the district 6 through 12 and crossing a lot of different areas for our students and our families. So thank you for putting this together.
You're welcome. We focused on grades 6 through 12 because we had a discussion at the K-5 level. Our classroom teachers have units, and they do a lot with health, nutrition. Our physical education teachers at that level do a lot. And we felt that where these issues come up and are more prevalent for students are when they start to be at the middle school and they transition into high school. So we felt that the 6 through 12 focus was appropriate. It would be a classroom teacher position under the EGTA contract, and depending on the experience, it is an educationally certified position.
Great. Any other comments?
Mr. Buno, could I just add
Yes.
a general update on the federal funds?
Of course.
I'm happy to
Yep.
report that on August 31st, the district received notification that the Education Department approved programmatically our Carissa application, which is
Great.
for $3.9 million. So that has been forwarded to the Grants Finance Department. So we expect to see the funds start to flow fairly soon. I provided you with a list of some of the items that covered. It covered quite a few salaries and benefits, as well as a lot of technology, Chromebooks and ViewSonic boards, as well as upgrades to our TransFinder system and our Heartland system. So we're really looking forward to this.
Great. Any other updates on the memo from the different projects that are out there? Project Adventure, ROTC, Equine?
The Project Adventure, I did include a coordinator stipend in the American Rescue Plan for that, but we may have some additional expenses that will come into play in that program. We are also still considering the JROTC program. We just have to get a little more information on that, but there will be some expenses associated with that as well. And the equine program, the board indicated an interest in expanding that program. I have spoken to Andrea Neiman, who is the teacher involved with that program. She'd like to keep it small for this year while we start it up, and then see where we go from there. As a result of some of the budgeting that we did in the federal funds, I provided for you some savings that we will see in the general fund as a result of that. Some of the salaries and benefits for AIS teachers, as well as some tutoring services, substance abuse counselor, capital EAP, and professional development are all items that we budgeted for in our general fund, which will now be charged to the federal funds, freeing up a little bit of money there. So that I estimate is about $510,000.
Great, thank you.
On the Project Adventure, I know that Mr. Leonard has been working with and talking with PE teachers about taking some students to have ropes course experiences at UAlbany. He has also been talking with a vendor out of, I think it's Bethel, Massachusetts, about the potential to put a ropes course behind our high school. There actually are still in the trees some of the islets that were there once when there was a ropes course. So that would require some grooming of the area that was there. There's a lot of tree roots and things like that, but Mr. Leonard is exploring both bringing some kids to a ropes course that's already available, but also the potential to install and have a ropes course back on site at the high school campus.
Oh, interesting, great.
And our archery program is underway with training that occurred through our opening professional development days for our PE teachers, along with Mr. Hurd, who is familiar with archery, technology teacher at the middle school. And we've purchased the equipment, targets, bows, and equipment necessary to have that program be taught as a unit in physical education, but also we'll be moving forward with an after-school activity. Good. Lots of good things underway.
Yeah, great. Any final comments regarding the federal funds update? Questions? Right. I feel we're very much on target and appreciate the work about the application and good news there. And then we'll have an update as far as some of the programs, how things are going. That'd be great. Moving on to regular business, approval of programs for resident children with disabilities. Any questions or comments to that item? No? Need a motion to approve that? Kathleen, second. Joanne, all those in favor? Approved. We have a resolution to amend the employment agreement for Ms. Wager. Any questions or comments? Need a motion to approve that? John, second. Deanna, all those in favor? Approved. Congratulations, Linda. Transition Coordinator Services. There's a discussion we had before about this program. Any questions or comments? Seeing none, need a motion to approve that. Joanne, second. Cheryl, all those in favor? Approved. And tax tertiary, am I saying that right, Linda? I always kind of mess that up. Tax tertiary reserve. Any explanation needed for that? It's about 1.5 million going into the reserves for the future. Any questions or comments on that?
And they want to give a brief overview for the public of
Sure.
Thank
what
you.
this resolution involves.
Sure. So the tax certiaries, people can, when they receive their assessments for the year, they can, they can oppose those and they can protest those. And each year, after July 1st, after the tax rolls are out on July 1st, people can still protest those tax assessments legally. So they serve papers to the town and the school district. I receive all of those notices. I calculate what the dollar impact of the protests are, and we try to set up a tax tertiary reserve so that we have money set aside to pay those refunds. What happens is any amount, any protest that is over $5,000, our attorneys are involved and they try to settle these cases. So any settlement that is over $30,000, either individually or combined, it comes to the board for approval on that. So we started to establish tax tertiary reserves each year, beginning with the year of 2008. And this year we received 10 protests, and we expect them to be about $1.5 million. Slightly higher than that. But so this reserve will be strictly used for issuing the refunds to taxpayers. And we hold that reserve open for 4 years, and any amount left in the reserve at the end of 4 years goes back into the general fund. Are there any questions on that?
Thank you, Linda. Need a motion to approve the reserve? Michelle, second. Kathleen, all those in favor? Approved. Thank you. Next item on the agenda is the committee reports. We'll start with Marissa. Nothing at this time. And Linda, anything?
I would just like to talk about the Finance and Audit Committee. The Finance and Audit Committee is a committee that oversees and carries out the board's audit policies, which is Education Policy 6690. The committee was established back in December of 2005, and it is comprised of up to 4 board members and 4 community members. The community members serve at the pleasure of the board and without compensation, and employees of the district are prohibited from serving on the committee. Currently, we have 2 board members and 2 community members. We recently had a long-standing community member resign from the committee as her son graduated and she's moved on to other items. So there are typically 2 meetings a year, one in September, one in May, to review the audit plans and reports. And this year we will probably need an additional 1 or 2 meetings because we'll be issuing an RFP for independent audit services. So I am looking for additional either community members and or board members, if anyone is interested in serving on this committee. They can either contact myself or Jeannie Pangburn, our district clerk. Thank you.
Great. All right. Let's hope we get someone. And I want to thank, was it Alyssa? Who was that?
Alyssa Blaustein.
Yeah, Blaustein. Thank you for all her service and those who serve on the committee. It is important work. Moving on, Jim.
I attached the summary of the professional development on the opening days of school. Just a couple of things that I want to point out. 10 of our own employees facilitated some of our PD sessions, including 7 of our teachers led or facilitated some of our professional development sessions. So there was a total of 28 sessions. They're all listed. The large majority of those sessions were optional. We were sensitive to the fact that teachers were returning and all of our students were returning, and there was a lot of construction in some of the rooms going on. Teachers needed that time to set up their classrooms and prepare. Even though the large majority of the sessions were optional, we had over 3,000 attendees to the 28 sessions. Some of those sessions ran on multiple days and multiple different times. So if it didn't work into their schedule, it was offered on a different day at a different time. I also want to point out that our principals participated in our professional development sessions as well. I think that sets a really strong, positive tone. Our principals also had to adjust their own building schedules around the PD schedule. So the sessions that were required were our keynotes, the Renaissance Star training, policy updates, and safety plan updates. I was surprised with the popularity of the book study sessions, which speaks volumes about the level of professionalism. A lot of teachers really wanted to organize those book studies and run it with their colleagues for professional discussions. I am pleased to announce that Mr. Goodwin's still speaking to me. He was the one that did all the setups for the sessions and provided virtual links and handled streaming. So a big shout out to Mr. Goodwin and his tech team. So really impressive. I think it speaks volumes of the level of professionalism in the district, that with everything that was going on, we had over 3,300 attendees at 28 sessions this year. So congrats to all.
Thank you, Jim. Any questions for Jim? Just looking at the session titles, I mean, just phenomenal topics, and the linkage to all the work that, we talked about over the summer and the need to support teachers and students. I had a chance to sit through Dr. Burchek. Again, he's wonderful, and I hope he was able to kick off the school year well for our staff. And of course, Dr. Cipriano is very well known in her field and the work that she does. So excellent topics.
I do want to thank Jennifer Massey. Jennifer Massey is the one that put me in contact with one of the presenters, Christina Cipriano from Yale University, and she was phenomenal. And she'll be working with our district throughout this school year. So she was a keynote speaker. She ran one of the sessions, and that all came about through a connection and a recommendation through Jennifer Massey. So I want to thank her as well.
Thank you, Jim. Any other comments or questions? Oh, good, thank you. And Mr. Simons, long-range planning.
Yes, I just want to announce that we are having a PreK meeting on Monday evening at 7 o'clock. Our PreK committee is focused on long-range facilities planning. One of the items on the agenda is a presentation from the town of East Greenbush. The town has been working on the development of a design for a town project that would include construction of safe pathways on Gilligan Road that would connect the ability of people to walk and or bike safely from the baseball, softball fields onto the golf property, to cross safely from the neighborhood across from golf, and then continue on a pathway either to come into the school proper or to continue on really all the way down to Hayes Road and provide a way for the school campus and the fields and the busy road of Gilligan Road to be safe for people to walk. We asked the town to attend some of our construction meetings this summer because we wanted to make sure that what they were proposing would not disrupt the current work that we just completed at Goff. And we also wanted to be aware of how their work would tie in with potentially future work being done in the district. We've had some very good exchanges. They've been open to our architects and landscape architects' ideas. St. Reuben has been involved in the discussion, and we're working very well together on a plan that will be presented to the PreK committee. The planning is really in its early stages. The town has no defined timeline. They did have a public hearing on it, but their process continues. We have indicated that if there was work that was necessary for the district to do, that work would have to be part of an approved capital project down the road. And we're just having a good exchange of information, and there's a design that the town is going to present to the PreK committee on Monday. Additionally, we'll also give an update on the status of our current projects and the building condition survey, which is the state required identification of issues that would formulate the next capital project. So it should be a good meeting, 7 o'clock in the Columbia High School auditorium. Representatives from the town's engineering and architectural firm will be there, along with district personnel and our architects and our construction management firm.
Any questions? Just a comment. I think that, seeing the sidewalks that have been built by the town on Columbia Turnpike, we live nearby the Hayes Road, and I know that some of us see that there's no shoulders there. There's a lot of people who walk and bike and things like that. So I think this would be a welcome project to that part of the community, and I know that people will take advantage of it.
Thank you, Mike.
Okay. All right. Moving on the agenda, table motions. I don't have anything. Old business, board members, anything? No? Okay. Moving on to item 13, consent agenda. We have items A through F, financial reports, support personnel, and non-instructional personnel, gifts, and disposal of district property assets. Any questions or comments? Yes. Yes. Awesome. I see Mr. Alves here. Can you comment on that? Nice. Uh-huh. Nice. Thank you, Mr. Alvey. And again, the PTOs are just tremendous supporters of our schools. Thank the DPS PTO for that. Very generous contribution for that. And then we know that the hard work that goes into all the PTOs that support our schools. So thank you very much. Any other comments on the consent agenda? No? All right, I need a motion to approve by consent. Joanne, second. Michelle, all those in favor? Approved. We do have an addendum tonight, the Sorensko request to use fertilizer. I think we have a couple of folks here, right?
I know we have Mr. Tierney here. Mike
Oh,
Tierney
Is
is
he-
here.
Oh, Andy's
and-
here too,
and
right?
Also, we
Andy
have,
Garrigan?
so if you guys want to come up and just kind of explain your project, I think.
Yeah, much
I think the
appreciated.
board and
Thank you
committee
for
would
coming
appreciate
tonight.
that.
Good evening. Thank you for having us. My name is Mike Tierney. I'm an East Greenbush resident. I'm also the player agent for Sorensko. So Sorensko is a youth baseball league. Our fields are on Gilligan Road, right at the Goff campus. The Columbia modified team, the Columbia freshman team also use our fields. We serve kids 13 to about 18. So as they age out of Little League, hopefully they walk across the parking lot and come to our fields and join our league. So what we're asking for is for permission to fertilize and to use weed control on the fields. We've taken a lot of pride in our fields over the course of the years through Little League. Those fields are immaculate. The Columbia field here is immaculate. We would just like to get it up into the same condition. So that's why we'd like to put the weed control down and the fertilizer. Do it on an annual basis.
Okay.
Yes, that's right. Thank you, Andy. It's the same product, same company that is utilized here at Columbia High School.
Great. Thank you. Okay. Any questions or comments regarding the proposal? No? Oh, you're one question. Okay. I think this community is tremendous supporter of youth sports. As a former Sorensco player myself, before it was Sorensco, the leagues do a tremendous job to help build our athletes who continue on through our school programs, and it's a really whatever we can do to support them, I'd be glad to do. So with that, I need a motion to approve that addendum. Frank, second. John, all those in favor? Approved. All right, guys. Thank you. Thanks for coming. I appreciate it, the information and helping support your athletes and our community members. Next item, new business. Board members, any new business? I want to kind of interject here. Mr. Simon's trying to prepare for this, but I see a lot of our principals here, and I hadn't heard from Mr. Alvey, obviously, on that. So I would like to hear a couple of quick comments about how school opening went from the principals that are here, if you don't mind. I see quite a few, so just a couple minutes to tell us how things are opening went and some things that you're working on. So.
Good evening. I'm Helen Scalacci, principal at Red Mill School. I think I would echo Mr. Harkin's remarks about seeing the kids every day. Many of our teaching staff has commented already what a difference that makes, just having that routine and the ample learning that can go on with having our students every day. I would also like to thank the board and Mr. McHugh for the position of the RTI coordinator. I think that is paying off in spades already. She's only been in place, Mrs. Mahar, for several days, but already we're feeling how much support she brings to this role. Our teachers have remarked on it. Our principals have remarked on it. Lisa Mahar is really knocking it out of the park with her communication, the support, and I don't know how we would have implemented all of the new resources that we have, the new assessments that we're doing with our students without her help. So thank you very much for supporting that position. And also really exciting is our new, the early intervention providers in our schools. That's been a huge support for our students, and we're really getting excited to start the great work that we'll be doing to close those gaps up for our students. So thanks again.
Thanks, Ellen. When we start, though, I see on my left, we'll go with Dan.
Thank you, Dan Garib, principal at Green Meadow Elementary. I certainly echo everything Mrs. Scalacci just mentioned. A lot of those things are happening in all of the elementary schools. I just want to take a moment to comment on the construction. Great improvements to the learning environment at Green Meadow. We really pushed it to the last minute, but it all came together. If you had asked me a couple days before school, I thought, I don't know how this is going to work, but it did. So I'd like to thank Mr. Bickle and his team for doing a fantastic job at getting that together. I also want to take a moment to thank Mr. Simons and Mrs. Wager, who really kept on top of this a lot, visiting the building a lot, including weekends. And evenings and after hours. So it all came together. It looks great. Almost all of the bathrooms are functioning now in the back hall. Not quite yet, but they will be soon. But thank you, and a lot of positive comments from the staff on the finished product. And a big shout out to the teachers and the TAs and the entire support staff. They displayed a lot of patience in those working conditions, getting the rooms ready. And I can't thank them enough. And they just were heroes in what they pulled off. So thank you very much.
Thanks, Dan. Hey, Wayne.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Wayne Grigna. I'm the principal of Janae Elementary School. I want to echo everything that Helen and both Dan have already said. I do want to thank, the construction has been interesting at Janae this summer because we were jam-packed with the GCC program as well. That kind of offset some of our timeline, but Mr. Bickle and Mike Rowe and Steve, they really did a great job of getting us up and ready. And as Dan said, we had a few, especially third grade, that was down to the wire of getting that ready. So, you know, the teachers and the TAs all pulled together and did a wonderful job of making sure that their classrooms were available. Some of our bathrooms are still working towards getting functional, but we're almost there. I was at Janae this evening. I saw them. They were working, and I'm hoping to get those up and running for our first graders soon. I do want to thank Mr. Goodwin and the technology department for their work this summer to ensure that we have all the devices ready for our kids to start back this year, because as we know, the new assessments that the district has put into effect require one-to-one devices for our kids to be able to take those. And it has been a wonderful transition to this. I think it is going to be a time saver. I do want to thank Mr. McHugh for all the time and effort that he has placed into this and the support of the Board of Education, the monies that went allocated to this new system, because it was expensive. And I do think that, you know, talking with the K-3 specialists, the AIS teams, the other elementary principals, that this will pay dividends in allowing us to get into what we are here to do, to support kids, to address those gaps that we see in a more earlier fashion than what we have been able to do in the past. So a special shout out to not only Lisa Mahar, the new RTI coordinator, who is fantastic, but also all of our reading teams and our AIS teams. They are doing a tremendous amount of work. They are seen as the go-to people within the building for these assessments, and the classroom teachers, I think, feel at ease, even though they have attended the training, but they have somebody to go to that they can look to answer those questions, which allows them to feel more at ease in administering these new exams. So I think it will take us time to continue to grow, but together I think it will be a great payoff for the district. So, and thank you to the Board of Education for your continued support. We look forward to a great year together.
Thanks. Wayne, or who's next? Thanks, Wayne.
Thank you. Hi, I'm Jill Barker, principal of Goff Middle School. Much of what the others have said, we had a tremendous opening to the school year. As you all know, we had a lot of construction at Goff Middle School, and our custodial team and Paul Bickle's team has worked around the clock, oftentimes well beyond 12 hours a day and on the weekends to get the building ready, having to work around the major construction, and they just did a phenomenal job. And I can't say enough good things about our maintenance team and the dedication they have to our students and to our staff to get the building up and running. The parking lot was completely redesigned, and it's proven to be very effective. We do not have the backup that we've had in the past. I was wondering how it might work. I had a hard time visualizing how it would work out, but I've been pleasantly surprised to see that it's been very, very effective in terms of getting parents through the line, picking up their kids, dropping up their kids, and not interrupting our buses, being able to come in and for arrival and dismissal. So it's working out very, very nicely. Good. As far as the students and the positions that we have, Jumpstart was a new program that we had this year. The mix of students that we had on the recommendations of our elementary principals of the students who should be in that program has proven to be spot on. The kids that we have in the program right now is a tremendous mix. I'm hearing really great things from the teacher who has these students in the program and from Mrs. Dunn, who is overseeing Jumpstart in terms of the student mix and how well it's working. We're talking about other students already that we want to look at and monitor to going into that program, but I think it's going to be a very, very successful program, and those students are doing really, really well and having a great start transitioning from elementary to the middle school. So thank you very much for approving that program, because I think it's going to be very, very beneficial for our students who may have fallen through the cracks, had not such a tremendous first year in middle school, who will end up having a very successful school year and transition into middle school. Some of the AIS positions that you approved, our math AIS position, our teacher that we hired is phenomenal. She's doing a tremendous job, and we have a lot of kids in AIS right now. So having that additional AIS math teacher and an additional AIS reading teacher has really been helpful to help us close those gaps, get those students in who really need that additional support. And I thank you so much for that, because our students really need that right now. So appreciate all that you've done, all that you've approved for us, but we're off to a great start. Our teachers have done a tremendous job welcoming our students and making sure that they're transitioning nicely and looking to make sure they have a successful year. So thank you.
Thank you, Jill. Marty or Jack? Marty? Okay.
Thank you, Joe. Well, I'll keep it brief because I could repeat just about everything that everyone has said. But I probably had one of the smoothest openings this year than I've ever had in my 6th year there. It's really great though to see all the students back every day.
Yeah.
Instead of the hybrid. So that's made a huge difference. I can see a level of stress and anxiety way down from last year with my staff and the students. So it's been great. I want to put a shout out to the transportation department because I already had a couple student issues where they went on a bus number they memorized from last year and it was different this year. And I had to call them like, oh man, but they worked it out and they worked it out in a timely manner. It was great. So they've been amazing and no child gets left behind, knock on wood. And also, I would probably not be able to go home tonight if I didn't also recognize that my wife, Lisa, has done an amazing job. So that being said, thank you all for your support.
Thank you, Marty. And Jack?
Jack Alvey, principal at DPS. I just want to, I mean, everyone has really summarized what a difference all these resources have made for our students, and we're not even a full weekend, and just that smooth transition has been incredible. The work at DPS, we have a new roof, we have a new rubber roof, and we have a new replacement of the slate. It's really impressive, and I know Jeannie has given the neighborhood a seal of approval on the roof as she lives next door to DPS. So it's really interesting. It's basically Trex decking, that type of compressed material that's transitioned into that slate to maintain that historical look. It's really impressive, and they've done a really nice job putting that together. Just another thing, when you talk about collegiality, you know, as an administrative team, we work really well together. It's even the little things. You know, at DPS, we needed a little bit of extra time to run our lunch program. I joke with Linda if I could borrow her AED because we didn't know what the state was going to provide in terms of what we needed to do for seating for the cafeteria. And so just a little thing, by making that time adjustment, I'm able to stretch out my lunch periods. We didn't need to rent the circus tent from True Value this year. So, you know, we're able to maintain everything within our building, and it's been a very smooth start. And like everyone has said, just having the kids in there, yep, we're all wearing masks. The kids are doing a fabulous job. You can see the smile through their eyes and their faces, their cheekbones. It's been a great start, and I'm really proud of the work that our district continues to do to support our community. Thank you.
Thank you, Jack. And Kara, any comments about special ed? I know Molly's not here, so it put you on the spot as well if you want to make a few comments about the program. Now we're off.
A lot of time has gone into planning for our students that have disabilities that were approved for remote. Questar has a virtual academy, and they weren't able to offer the special education piece of it. So although we have students attending there, we had to be creative in how we were going to deliver those services during the school day and then through tutoring after school. So we've been able to problem solve for all those students. We've also been able to work with some of the families to get the students in for part of the day on an abbreviated schedule, and to keep them in a location that is safer and where they don't have to go to the cafeteria, and so they're have less exposure to other students. They're coming in the side door near PPS. So we've done a lot of planning with that. I also want to give a shout out to Nikki Barman and our OT team and communication skills team. They put together an awesome sensory space at DPS. It's located right across from our communication skills room. And it just looks amazing. We'll have to get some pictures out on social media. There's nice mats. There's a swing in there. They have a canoe where the kids can go in to get some sensory input. They can turn down the lights, and they have lights strung across the top as well as stars across the ceiling. So it's a really nice space for our students that really need a place sometimes to just relax during the school day when they might be feeling a little overwhelmed or overstimulated. Nice. So shout out to her, 'cause she put a lot of time and effort into that at the end of the summer, because there was a lot of construction going on at DPS. So she pulled it together very quickly.
Thank you, Kara. I really appreciate the opportunity for the principals to be here, for others who have been here to speak and talk about their programs, talk about what's happening in their buildings. Because it's important for us as the board to see the fruition of what's happening with our, our decisions we make, the policies, the recommendations that the superintendent and the team make, because it's all about the kids and all about helping the teachers and the staff to provide the best possible learning environment for our children. And that we're back in person is tremendous. And I just, want to keep it going. And I hope that, everyone can appreciate the efforts that you as principals and leaders in your buildings, and leaders in your community too, to help our families and really working with your staff and working with the teachers and making that those opportunities possible. So thank you for sharing those. I would like to, if we can, get out to the buildings as part of our typical, the district, our board does like to have meetings in the district at our different buildings. And if we can do that this year, see some of the new construction, see some of the things that are happening, see some of what Kara talked about, the new rooms that are built and spaces for kids. We'd love to see that.
Well, definitely, Mr. Buono and I will talk about adjusting the schedule. We had advertised the board meetings would be here until
Right.
further notice, but I think there's no reason now that we can't, as long as we, look at the calendar and
Yeah.
coordinate it, that we can start moving into the building so we can have more of a traditional schedule.
Yeah, if-
Opportunity for
if-
the board to see the programs and the facilities.
Yeah, and we'll talk about that as the board support doing that again and trying to. Thank you, Frank. Yeah. Yeah. So we'll give you a couple of weeks before we head out there to the meeting. No, I'm just kidding. We'll plan those out for the, later in the year. Let's get things settled. We have a lot to do. You have a lot to do as teams, and then we'll plan that out with Mr. Simon. So do that. All right. Next is our public forum. Any comments from the public? No? Okay. Board forum. I'll start on my right with Cheryl. Anything? Cheryl? Frank? Amazing feedback. Thank you. Yep. Joanne? You good? And Kathleen?
I echo what Frank says. The feedback is amazing. And the first meeting of the year is always nice. And you guys have made it fantastic. It's really fun to hear how excited in your voices. You can just hear the excitement. And after the year that we've been through, we haven't heard a lot of that. So thank you very much. Thank you for letting us know how our decisions have impacted your buildings directly. And somebody did, I think Marty shouted out to the transportation department. I want to echo that because they're not actually here, but we know that we could not operate without them. So thank you.
Thanks, Kathleen. Deanna? Anything? Okay. On my left, John? Good. And Michelle? Good. All right. I'm good. I think I said my comments for earlier, and that would conclude our meeting tonight. We do have need for an executive session.
Yes.
For the board, so we don't anticipate any regular business when we come out of executive session. So with that, I need a motion to move into executive session. John, second. Frank, those in favor? All right. Thank you, everyone who attended this evening. We appreciate your comments. Allison, thank you for coming and welcome to your new role. And Mr. Wagner, right? Okay. All right. Take care, everyone. Thank you. Good night.